Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news on a very positive morning for Manchester United. We're going to be talking about Paul Pogba and Manchester United's desperation to keep him at the club. And I think, look, that's not going to be much of a surprise. I think United thought they might have a bit more of bit of power in this situation. They got no power. They got no power in this situation, and they might have no Pogba, to be honest with you, because I think Pogba's the man with all the power. But we have got the Europa League draw today. We will be live for you with that just before midday as well. Me and Flex will be on that same show, so looking forward to that. Just on that, I must say there's a lot of things I want to get through in relation to last night, but I want to look at it from both sides because I think, you know, that's the way it should always be. But we've got to win a trophy now. I think the importance of getting through last night was that in April we will have our better players back. I think in Sociedad and AC Milan we've probably played two of the teams that conceivably could have gone as far as the semi-finals in the Europa League, and we've knocked them out. I look at what's left. I don't really see anybody that I'm terrified of. There's some good teams in there, but you know, Ajax, Villarreal. And look, you've got to throw Arsenal in there for the Premier League, of course. But on our day, I would expect us to be better than them. I think we are better than them. 11 a.m. is the Champions League draw. Midday is the Europa League draw. We're not in the Champions League, unfortunately, so that's how it's going to work. But we'll get into that in a bit. But I think from this point, Solskjaer's got to win a trophy. Not that if he doesn't win a trophy, he gets the sack. I think that's, you know, he's not getting the sack. I think anybody who thinks he's getting the sack needs to wise up. But I do think that this season has to have a trophy in it. I think we're going to get top four now, so it's got to have a trophy as well. Brian says, I watched the match reaction and agree 100% that James' decision making is awful. However, to be fair, he's one of the reasons that we kept Theo quiet, says Brian. I mean, look, I must just say this straight away. I'm not really interested in some of the horrible things that exist in our fan base this morning. I've seen people going in on Bruno. Some of the stuff that's been said about him is a disgrace. I don't think these people support Manchester United. I think they support individual players. I've seen some of this whole Henderson De Gea thing. I don't want to get involved in that. I thought Henderson played well last night, but I'll leave you with the quote of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, asked about that. Apparently this world-class save that he made against Zlatan. He said it was a good save. Sorry, he said it was a great save, but it was the save he should have made last week. Well, I think it was a great save, and it was a great performance from Henderson last night, but I'm not getting involved in the media. I thought I saw BT going on about it. I've seen Manchester Evening News this morning. They've been driving this for weeks. We don't need division. What I want is United. Like, Pogba was back last night. I know he's a divisive player, but he won us the game. There'll be people who don't like Pogba. There's people who probably support Pogba more than they support the club. I don't want any of this. I just want to enjoy a week that's been really difficult. I thought West Ham winning that basically hands us top four. Winning last night in Milan gets us into the quarterfinals of the Europa League, which we want to be in. And then Sunday in the FA Cup, I want to be in the semi-final of the FA Cup as well. So, you know, ultimately for me, it's a very, very big week. And I can't be arsed. I don't really understand it. I don't understand it. Pogba comes on last night and scores. And instantly we've got these fans in our fan base who support Pogba more than they support Man United. And their first thought is to go and attack Bruno Fernandes. They wear the same bloody shirt. I don't get this. I don't get this. And look, it's very hard, very, very rare I would say this, but I don't get that style of... I don't think they do the Manchester United fan base any good at all. I don't. I think that they are totally driven by stubbornness and individualism. And Manchester United Football Club is not about individualism. It isn't. From the darkest tragedies to the best successes, Manchester United is built on the second word, United. And I think too many people in our fan base, they're a minority, but they don't do us any favours with this, you know, they're like instantly turning last night into something that it wasn't. Oh, look at Pogba and Bruno's shit. And it's like, what? Who are you? Like, what are you? Like, who are you? And I'm sure you believe what you're talking about, and I'm sure it gets you really angry and passionate. But Manchester United won. Do you support Manchester United, or are you just about ripping into players that have made us relevant for the last 12 months? I mean, look, there are players that probably need ripping into, but I mean, making it an opportunity to go in on Bruno, I've got no interest in any of that, to be honest with you. Hi, Mark. Please, can you say happy birthday to My husband Nathan, we watch every day at work and it makes his day, says Sarah Perry. Happy birthday to Nathan, a nice morning as well. Sir Rick Ferguson supporter Cam summed it up. I tell you, Fleck, give me James or Matic and 10 wooden planks and I will win you the Champions League, says DK. I'm so harsh on Ollie because I know we can be better. I have no doubt Van der Beek would be better than either of McFred. He just needs a run of games, says United. Mark, in your opinion, why do you think Ollie is reluctant to use his subs? Fear of losing or general favouritism? I think it's fear, Tristan, as I said last night. Fred is tenacious, yes, but my God, his passing is just woeful. Brazilian my arse, we are United. Sell Fred, bench McTominay and sign Rice, says Jack. Well, I saw Declan Rice congratulating Harry Maguire on social media last night, so come to the club, Declan Rice. But we're going to get lost if I'm not careful. I need to guide this show because I do want to talk about stuff like that. But yeah, just going back to that previous super chat about Dan James. I think that, look, Dan James stopping Theo Hernandez, is that good? Yes. Is that Manchester United winger? No. And that's the problem. There was no one else to play yesterday, but we've got too many players in that squad who just do a job. They do a job. And Manchester United's more than doing a job. I think that's the most polite way I can say it. Dan James did a job. On the where we wanted him to be a Man United player, he failed. You know, the 2v1 situation where he just slips Greenwood in and Greenwood scores, he decides to get his head down and meep meep. And that's the problem. He's not. I don't care what Ricky says. I know Ricky likes him. I respect that, but he is not a Premier League top 10 player for anybody, let alone a Manchester United player. But at the moment, we've got nobody else. And the same with McFred. I mean, I want to talk about the goals and the game and everything like that, but I don't think a lot has actually changed this season. I still think we are winning games by one goal and we are not conceding. And the reason we're winning games by one goal is because we're not creating enough chances. And the reason we're not conceding chances is because we're still sitting McFred in front of our centre-backs and babysitting. And Maguire and Lindelof played well last night, but let's not pretend it was Rio and Vidic sending everybody forward and just standing there like two, pillars of granite that no one's going to get past. Let's be honest, Maguire and Lindelof played well last night, but for the whole game they've got two CDMs just sat in front of them, protecting them. So this is why we get clean sheets, but it's also why we don't concede. It's also why we don't create many chances. And I think the substitution thing is about fear. It's about, if I bring Van der Beek on, does he know that he's just got to stand in front of Maguire and Lindelof and not do fucking anything? You are not allowed to get forward. You are not allowed to pass forward. You just literally stand there. And that's why he kept McTominay and Fred on yesterday, because he just wants them to do a very basic job. And that's the limitations of Fred and McTominay and Dan James to a certain extent. They're limited players. You tell them to do a job and they will do it. They can't do anything else. They're not intelligent footballers. They just do a job. And it's absolutely fine to have players like that. But when you've got like 40% of your team that are just doing a job, that's not good enough for United. Doing a job is a bit like, remember Dunga for Brazil all those years ago? He was a bit of a basic footballer, but he was surrounded by people like Romario and Leonardo and what was his name, Bebeto and people like that. You can have somebody who just does that job, but we've got too many of them, and I think that limits us at the moment. But to be fair, last night there wasn't many other options. There really wasn't. Anyway, I want to talk about Paul Pogba. Manchester United are desperate to keep Pogba at Manchester United. I think for the last few months there's been this whole play well for us till the end of the season and we'll let you go, and that's definitely been the case. When you think about what Mino Raiola said in December, he won't be signing a new contract, Man United basically destroys players, etc. It was quite a big statement just before that Leipzig game, and how Man United have turned around since then and how Paul Pogba has turned around since then has been fantastic. At that time, Solskjaer sat down with Pogba and was basically, look, Paul, be professional and we will be professional with you in the summer. And that has benefited United and that has benefited Pogba. Now, Pogba's stance is still very much wants to leave Manchester United in the summer. Nothing has changed there. Raiola is trying to work on deals to get Pogba out. However, Manchester United's stance has pretty much always been they want to keep Paul Pogba at the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's stance is he wants desperately Paul Pogba to stay at the club. And any idiot would want that, because look at what he did last night. But not only look at what he did last night, let's be honest, Pogba was playing very well for us from sort of Christmas to when he got injured at the start of February, wasn't it? Or late January. He was playing really well. And obviously last night you saw that quality. Manchester United with Paul Pogba in the team is clearly better based on what we were just talking about. Without Pogba, you've got to play Dan James and McFred with Rashford, Bruno and one other up front. When you get Pogba in the team, one of those players that are limited has to come out. And obviously, Bruno doesn't have enough support because Rashford's been in out of form. McFred can't play football. James can't really play football. And the striker's isolated. So Bruno's looking around going, Luke Shaw, help me out. When Pogba's in the team, you get more out of Bruno. And Pogba is helped by Bruno because he's got somebody else good with him as well. So we're so much better with Pogba. And if Pogba leaves in the summer, how do you replace Pogba? We're talking about strikers. We're talking about CDMs. We're talking about centre-backs. We're talking about wingers. Nobody's talking about Pogba's replacement. And anybody who's talking about Van der Beek is having a bloody laugh. Van der Beek, who is a Champions League semi-finalist, Dutch international, is not even trusted to come on as fresh legs for 10 minutes when everyone else has been playing every bloody game for 2 months. So I don't think we can say that Van der Beek's the answer. The reality is Manchester United are desperate to keep Paul Pogba, but Paul Pogba holds all the cards. And unfortunately, the person who is next to him is his agent, and Mino Raiola holds the cards as well. So how United can deliver something here, I don't know. They will make an offer to Paul Pogba, they will. But Paul Pogba will go into the summer transfer window with nothing in his mind other than France. And when the Euros are over, he will decide his future. But at the moment, I would say Pogba is just becoming more and more powerful in this situation. He showed last night what a difference he is. He showed last night what a fantastic player he is. And there will be queues of players. I mean, Juventus want to make an impact in the Champions League. They will want Pogba. Real Madrid will want Pogba. PSG will want Pogba, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. The issue Manchester United have got is not that they don't want to keep him, not that they're not desperate to keep him. Pogba knows this. Raiola knows this. And they'll be like, even if everything falls apart, maybe we do stay for a couple more years, get you a massive contract. That could happen. But I think what people forget about Paul Pogba, and the reason I've always... As a player, I like him. I think over the last 4 years, he's been inconsistent. And I would argue that with anybody. There are some United fans who support Pogba over United who will paint a picture that Pogba's been elite for 4 years. And he hasn't. He's a fantastic player. And there are mitigating circumstances, definitely. But his career at Manchester United has been very up and down. I actually think the most consistent we've had from Pogba, and I'd argue this with anybody... Check it out for yourselves. Since Bruno's been in this club, I think we've seen a more consistent Paul Pogba because class attracts class. Pogba was a little bit bright like Bruno over the last few weeks where you're the only good midfielder in the team, so everybody swamps you. And I think we've seen that with Bruno over the last few weeks, and I think we've seen it with Pogba over the last 3 years. But I'm telling you now, Pogba only started playing with Bruno after lockdown in June because he was injured before, remember. Well, from June until the end of the season, we got third place. And then this season, when Pogba got over COVID and got back fit around Christmas time, we got another good of run form. So I think Pogba's most consistent time in a United shirt has coincided with Bruno being brought into the team, which coincides with he needs better players around them than what he's got. And that is the same as Bruno. Like, I think for the last 2 months, we've been fantastic. We've grinded out results without Pogba. We've kept ourselves in the race for the Europa League. We've kept ourselves in the race for the Premier League second place, top 4, whatever you want to call it. And Pogba has been more consistent since Bruno's been in the club, which makes me laugh when you get these Pogba fans who want to slate Bruno like it's one or the other. It's just idiotic. Like, I don't know what they do when they're watching Man United play other than, swim around in their Pogba pants or whatever they wear, because I just don't get it. Like, Pogba is a better player at United when Bruno's here, and Bruno is a better player at United when Pogba is there. And it's been proved over the last year. The problem is, in relation to Pogba staying, and I think we all know this, I respect Pogba because I think he wants to go because he wants to win things. He wants to win the Champions League and he wants to win a title. And at Manchester United, can we honestly say that's going to happen in the next 2 years when Paul Pogba's 28? This is the big move for Paul Pogba, and I think he wants to go to Real Madrid. I've always thought that. I think he wants to go to Real Madrid because there's more chance of Real Madrid winning the Champions League and La Liga than there is of Man United winning the Champions League and Premier League. I don't know why he'd go back to Juventus, but maybe he will. But I think Pogba wants to go. And for Manchester United to turn that around, it fits back in with what I'm saying. Solskjaer's got to win a trophy, because if we get second place and we win the Europa League and the club promised to invest in the manager and the squad, then maybe we get Pogba. And that's the thing I would say. Solskjaer is desperate to keep Pogba. Pogba wants to go. How do you change that? The only way you change that is through the people above who we think are incompetent. They have got to show Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes over the next 2 years that they mean business to close the gap on Man City. Because if the club show no ambition, Pogba will go. And he's got every right to go. He's one of the best players on his day in Europe, and he will want to go. Why should he stay and go, well, I know what's going to happen here. I'll earn good money, but for the next 2 years, you're going to play crap midfielders behind me. You're not going to fill the holes in the team. We're going to battle for 4th place, and we're going to, we're not going to be at the level I want to be. And I think, you know what? In some ways, Paul Pogba is indicative and symbolic of where this club's going to end. Because if we persuade Pogba to stay, that must mean that we're going to spend money to make ourselves better. Pogba, bring it on, says Zayn Miassi. And Zayn, be quiet. This is not mid-table in the morning, Mark. I honestly think Pogba being forced out on the wing for McFred might increase him wanting to go, says Gabriel Noel. Well, yeah, look, it worked with Pogba yesterday, but he's got to play in the midfield pivot, hasn't he? He has to play in the midfield pivot. It's absolutely essential. Please smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. It does update now. But yeah, look, I don't get it. I mean, I do look at mainly mainly what I do after I finish my videos, especially after a match reaction, is I read the comments on the videos that we've done because I respect the United Stand community. I will have a look on social media, but it's a bit hit and miss, to be honest with you. But I don't understand why people are unhappy. I think that this week, if we can just get a result against Leicester, and the Leicester game's really important because I think Man City have got a great opportunity of winning the treble, maybe even a quadruple. And they're going to win the league. They'll probably beat Spurs in the Carabao Cup, and then they've just got to get the Champions League and the FA Cup. The only one we can stop them doing is the FA Cup. So we've got to beat Leicester on Sunday. Absolutely essential. But as I said, going into this week, if you'd said to me, we'll beat West Ham and we'll beat AC Milan and we'll be going into the Leicester game, I would have bit your hand off. It's been a really, really good week results-wise. But I just want to say, because I want to be fair, it's not about me, it's a community. If I was looking at this from the other side, which is Ollie out, he's not good enough, I've got to look at it and say that, to be fair, I always say this, from positions of Eduardo's pumped up for Leicester, which is great. From a position of strength, that is where you do your most improvements. So, if you've decorated your house, you've got a Ferrari on your drive and everything's great, you don't just sit that back there and enjoy it. You look at where you're going next. And I think we've had a really good week and we should be really focused on what we're doing next, not patting ourselves on the back. Now, if I was being critical of Manchester United, Zane says, Gabriel, the Europa is the only cup you can win and we will stop you winning it. No, we can win the FA Cup, Zane. We're still in it, you're not. Morning, Mark. Fans don't understand that when only one of Bruno or Pogba play, it's easy to isolate our creative threats, says Bailey. Yeah, which is why these idiots are not really United fans, I don't think. These idiots who instantly go in after Bruno because Pogba's back. You're not a United fan because you don't even understand what's best for United. Man United are better when they've got them both on the pitch. Simple as. But if I was looking at United and being critical, we know about the subs. I mean, and to be fair, the subs thing with Ollie is not just being mentioned by the fans; it's universal. It's being mentioned by ex-players. It's being mentioned by the media. Nobody really understands why he doesn't do it because it's so wrong what he's doing with the subs. He should be freshening things up. These are 90-minute games, 3 games a week. You've got to use your bench. I mean, look, whether it's Brandon Williams or it's Donny van der Beek, whether it's Axel Tuanzebe or it's Alex Telles, these players need to be coming on with 20-15 minutes to go to freshen things up because we're running our players into the ground. But the worrying thing is that he's not taking players off who are performing badly to bring new lads on. So, yeah, that is a criticism and we could spend a lot of time talking about that. But for people who say that Ollie's lucky, I don't think he's lucky. I think we've had too many of these results for it to be luck. It's not luck, it's tactical. The problem is people don't like the tactics. And when I look at United this week, and when I look at United over the last couple of months, generally the football's not been that good. It hasn't been that good, but the results have been particularly good. Now, when I look at United this week, particularly against West Ham and AC Milan, there's not a lot of difference in the way that we've played this week. In fact, I would say there's very, very big similarities between the way that we've played this week and the way that we've played against the traditional 6, which most of the fan base were moaning about because we were getting a lot of 0-0s. We drew 0-0 with Liverpool, didn't we, twice? Oh, no, once. Man City was 0-0. Obviously, we beat them at the Etihad. We lost to them at Old Trafford in the Cup. Arsenal was a 0-0 and 0-1. Chelsea, I think, was 2-0. So, and everyone was saying we're just parking the bus and we're not creating anything. Well, we did that again this week. We did do that again this week, but we got through. And that is tactical. What we're doing is what we've been saying for probably all the season. With Magaluf, we don't play a high line. We play a deeper line when we haven't got the ball. The fullbacks tuck in and Fred and McTominay stand in front of them. You've got a back 6. And that is why it's a graveyard shift for the number 9. Go back to the Liverpool games, go back to the Man City games, the Chelsea games, the Arsenal games, the West Ham game, the AC Milan game. I'll guarantee that over 90% of those games, whoever played at number 9, whether it's Greenwood, Cavani, Rashford or Martial, they probably had a below average game, and they probably had hardly any shots on goal created for them. We play a back 6, and to be fair, the goalkeeper hardly ever has anything to do in those games because, all right, Henderson had a couple of saves last night, but across, again, those games, it's a back 6. It's protective of the back 4. It's McFred in front of them, and therefore you don't concede many goals. And we haven't conceded many goals. If you count up the 2 games this week and the games against the traditional top 6, we have hardly conceded any goals. And we don't create many chances either. If you look at West Ham at the weekend, we won that game because Dawson scored an own goal. Last night, you take that Pogba chance away, and Dan James is public enemy number 1 for not slipping Greenwood in because that's the only other chance we had. So we don't create many chances, but we don't concede many chances. And how many games this season have we won by 1 goal? I've been saying this a lot. Aston Villa, block at the end, won by 1 goal. Fulham, deflected wide at the end, won by 1 goal. Southampton, Cavani's stoppage time winner, won by 1 goal. We win by 1 goal so much because we play this tactics. So I understand why people are frustrated by the way that we play, because it's not really the United way. But at the end of the day, we have had a very long season, and I think Solskjaer has just gone with this whole let's keep this back 6, let's grind these results out, and that's what we've done. But the positive is, by doing that, we're second in the league, we're into the quarterfinals of the Europa League, we've got hopefully going to be in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, we've got an international break, Martial, Cavani back, Pogba's back, and hopefully we can play with better players on the pitch, better things will happen. But it doesn't matter whether Pogba's back, Martial's back, Cavani's back, Bruno and Pogba are back together. It doesn't matter what that front 4 is if that midfield pivot is McFred protecting the back 4, because it's just a back 6 and a massive gap to the front. And that's why we've been playing all season. So I do absolutely understand why people get frustrated with how we play, because it's winning by 1 goal, keeping it tight, and that's what it is. And all the United players coming out with leadership, this, that and the other, great result. That's not the United way though, lads. That's the only thing I would say. I'm really happy, and I think we should be happy, and I'm very excited. But I will analyse the performances and say that we don't create hardly any chances, and we don't concede hardly any chances because we defend very, very compact, and we don't get enough ball to our attackers quick enough. There was a lot of 2 touches, pass it sideways from the normal midfield pivot yesterday. And we don't create enough chances. But that's only ever going to change when Solskjaer, and I don't know whether he can do this. Like, people were like, why didn't he take McFred off yesterday? Well, he's not going to take them off for Van der Beek, and he's not going to put Pogba in there because Pogba and Van der Beek will be more expansive. They won't sit there in front of Magaluf and Lindelof. And if Van der Beek comes on for McTominay or Pogba comes on for McTominay, you're going to get Maguire shouting at Ollie, where's our protection? Where's our protection? Because Maguire and McTominay and Fred will just stay there. And that's why we've got so many clean sheets. This happened with Van Gaal when we had Blind and Smalling, as I said last night. You won't concede many goals if you've got 2 CDMs stood in front of your centre-backs. And that's what we do. And it's worked. But at some point, we're going to have to remove 2 breakers up of the play and put somebody in there who can play football. It's got to be Pogba for me after the break. Good morning, Mark. Respect you, bro. Hope your family are well. Shout out to the mods, says Luke82. Yeah, big shout out to the mods. Big shout out to everyone as well. We have got the Europa League draw. Me and Flex will be live on this channel about midday is happening. So I want Granada or the team that knocked Rangers out. I'd like us to get a slightly easier draw because we're still going to be playing 3 games a week from April until the end of May. So an easier draw would suit. Stray79, welcome to the Members Club. I just think that what we need to do is just be positive and be happy that where we are. This season's still very much alive for us. I'm on the Lemsip this morning, so I need to drink that before it gets cold. The season's still very much alive for us. There's lots to be positive about. I can't reiterate enough. I understand the frustration about how we play football. I'm not going to sit here this morning and say, this is brilliant football. It's not. It's really but it is tactical. It's definitely tactical. You can't say it's not tactical. He's got that team really well drilled. We're not conceding goals. We are very well organised defensively. That is our If somebody said to me, "Oh, I've been in a coma for 3 years. Can you explain how United play football now? Because they're second in the league and they're doing well in the cups." I would say we are a very compact defensive side. We have a back six with 2 CDMs that shield our centre backs. We don't concede many chances and we don't concede many goals. But we're not very easy on the eye to watch. We don't create many chances either. We're quite good in possession. We can keep possession side to side and pass them backwards and forwards, but we don't create many chances. We're not a very fast attacking side in the main, but we are defensively well organised and we're hard to beat. And we can go to teams like Man City, who are comfortably the best team in England, arguably in Europe. We can shut them down and we can nick a goal or two ourselves. So it's just not very expansive, and it's definitely not what most Manchester United fans want to see. However, we are in 3/4 of the way through the season. Now is not the time he's going to change it. We've got to get to the end of the season, hope that some of our better players get back into the team. And for me, Pogba's got to play in the pivot. But will he do that? Will he put Pogba in the pivot? I think he'll put Pogba on the wing. I think he's going to... And this frustrates the life out of me. I think he's going to put Pogba on the wing because I don't think he wants to break up McFred from doing the job they do in protecting Maguire and Lindelof. So I don't think he wants it to happen. I think he wants to keep those two there. The big point for me is not what's going to happen over the next few months. I'm enjoying this. I'm excited by it. Let's win a trophy. Let's get top 4. Let's get to the summer. Then let's see who we buy in the summer. Because if he doesn't buy a centre defensive midfielder, and next season we're going to go with McFred again, and then, we're going to see this football for a very long time, and then he will lose his job. I think United fans are very patient with Ollie because he's a club legend and the fact that the results are good. But it wasn't good enough under Mourinho, and it wasn't good enough under Van Gaal. And Ollie knows this. He is a man who has played. He knows Sir Alex Ferguson's football better than any of us, and we lived it. But he played it. He's got to find a way to be more expansive. He needs a Pogba in that pivot. That's what he needs, and that will change the way we play. We will play more expansive then. But we're not going to find that out, I don't think, till the end of the season. I don't think we're going to see that until next season. You can't sacrifice defensive ability in midfield. Neither of McFred are good enough to hold the fort alone. Until we get a Kante, Ollie can't play Pogba there, says Gareth Morgan. Well, that's the problem. We don't have a CDM. Mo Aiden says 3 things Ollie's United struggled with: the low block, semi-finals, and Arteta. Hoping no one can say that in May, says Mo. No. Semi-finals, hopefully. Hopefully they're coming in. Ray Lloyd says, I believe that a CDM who can play the role totally on their own is the most vital piece of the jigsaw. Anything else will be a bonus. If you could, instead of playing a 2, if you could play a 1, think back about Michael Carrick. Think about what Rodri does at Man City. If you could play 1 CDM, United's team would change overnight. If you had 1 CDM instead of McFred, the team would change. You put 1 player there. The thing is, Ollie's done it in the past. This is the thing. This is what gives me hope. Ollie's done this in the past. And I'm really glad we're talking about the CDM, because the CDM is the most... For me, it's the priority position. Above anything. That's where the money should be spent on a centre defensive midfielder. Because if you can put 1 person there instead of 2, and he has done it. When he first came to the club, it was Matic, Herrera and Pogba. Last summer, it was Matic, Pogba and Bruno. Matic is finished, so you need a CDM who can do that job on their own. And if we get that, it will change things around. But I liked the honesty after the game last night. Luke Shaw came out after the game and said we were awful in the first half and we brought on problems ourselves. And I think that's absolutely spot on by Luke Shaw. I don't think Milan were ever a threat yesterday. I think we were only a threat to ourselves. Some of the wasteful passes in the final third when we actually did get chances, and also some of the crap giving away of the ball by Bruno and McTominay and Fred in the first half really allowed Milan to potentially get back in the game. But we were the stronger team in that side, and I think Luke Shaw was absolutely spot on what he said there. Clean sheets, absolutely. Yeah, you can't win games if you're not getting clean sheets. And what have I put there? Chances. Yeah, clean sheets and chances. That's the problem. We're getting lots of clean sheets, but we're not creating chances. And that, to me, is a very easy way of analysing football. If you're getting loads of clean sheets, but you're not getting many chances. I grew up, I remember George Graham's Arsenal. I don't know whether Zane can, maybe he didn't support them then. But the reality is, George Graham's Arsenal, funnily enough, they did win the Cup Winners' Cup. And they used to get loads and loads of 1-0 wins. They were very tight and compact. They did it, I think when they won the Cup Winners' Cup, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but obviously, I've watched football all my life. They had a back 4 that played quite a deep line. and then I think they had like people like 2 CDMs in front of them, and I can't remember. And I know one was John Jensen. I think the other one might have been Schwartz, or maybe it was someone like, I don't know, Hillier or someone like that. But yeah, George Graham football, compact back six and take your chances. And at the moment, that's the way we're playing. Whether we like it or not, that's what Man United are doing. We're playing a compact back six and not creating many chances. And this feeds into what I've said before. We've spoken about United wanting to sign Erling Haaland, and I would challenge anybody to tell me what the benefit of Erling Haaland would be for 100 and something million last night. The team, he would have been running around, and we would have said he's put a shift in like Greenwood. But there's no service. There's no service coming in, is there? Dominic says if Pogba goes, Bruno will leave the following season due to the lack of class players in the team. I think that's inevitable that Bruno will go in the next couple of years if we don't build a team and we don't try and keep some of these players. I think we're a nearly team at the moment. Need a few more winners, says Ryan Whelan. I think that this team is close. Not in relation to the way that it's playing. I think this team is close to where it needs to be if it gets 2 really quality players in. A top quality centre-back will still push that defensive line higher, and a CDM will run the midfield instead of having to use 2 players. Those 2 players for me are more important than anything because you push your defensive line higher and you lose the McFred thing to bring in somebody else, and then that frees up a more box-to-box midfielder. So I do think that we're on the right track. I just think that the 2 players that we need are absolutely pivotal in that situation for Manchester United. So yeah, that's really important. Let's have a look. I really don't understand what Twansebi needs to do to get a look in the team, says Eduardo. I think that, to be honest with you, the draw's at midday. We're going to do the draw on this channel, Brandon. People have no patience. It's clear progression, says Robert McCormack. I think I agree with you on that. The door did though. Someone's just got it. I think Robert's right there. I think that the impatience that people have now, doesn't matter what club you are, whether you're Man City with billions to spend and Pep, or you're Man United with God knows what to spend and Ollie. Late March is not going to be the time where we're going to get a revolution. He's not going to suddenly start using his subs, and he's not going to suddenly stop using McFred. We are what we are, and we are where we are. For me, the summer is the big time, and next season. If he goes into next season with the same plans as this season, he won't last. If he goes into next season and loses Pogba and doesn't get invested in, he won't last. Percentage chance of Solskjaer being manager next year is probably 50-50 because next season he needs backing and he also needs to change the way that he's playing by evolving with the backing. If he goes into next season and the club haven't backed him and he's still using the same tactics, he'll be gone by Christmas. But moaning about it now, you're always right to have an opinion on how we're playing. You're always right to have a prediction on what you think is going to happen. But we're in a really good position. And you're not going to make massive changes now. One thing Solskjaer is he's pragmatic. He's pragmatic. He doesn't make subs because he'd rather stick with what he's got than twist. It's a bit like playing poker. Stick or twist. Do you stick with what you've got or do you gamble? Solskjaer's not a gambler. Sir Alex was. They're not the same. They're not the same at all. Sir Alex Ferguson was a passion merchant on the bench and on the touchline compared to Ollie, who's pragmatic. Sir Alex Ferguson would play caution to the wind and go for it, and Ollie doesn't. Now, of course, there were games in Europe where Sir Alex would keep it tight, but in general sense, they're very, very different. Solskjaer is not about to reinvent the wheel 3/4 of the way through the season. He would love to win He would love to win the league. He would love to win the Europa League by doing what he did last night because he's won something. It's about winning something, I think, for Solskjaer now, and I think the evolution, if it's going to happen, will happen next season. But then you go back to what we started off with. Will Pogba be here for that? Great show, Mark. Looking forward to the Europa League draw. It's my 50th birthday today, so I'm hoping for a good one. Enjoy your day. Cheers, says Connor Matt. Happy birthday to Connor. Big 5-0. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Appreciate that. And if we can get 35 million for Martial, we can use that for a big signing in summer. Sancho, says James. The summer transfer window will change everything. Because if you can get Sancho, you haven't got Dan James anymore. If you can get a good CDM, you haven't got McFred anymore. And if you can get a good centre-back, you haven't got Magaluf anymore. Those 3 areas would make us so much better. I know everyone wants a striker, but realistically, whether it's Anthony Martial, Edison Cavani or Mason Greenwood, those 3 players playing for the number 9 shirt with Sancho off the right, a good CDM and a centre-back, we will be better than where we are. And where we are now is second in a quarter-final of the Europa League and in a quarter-final of the FA Cup. That's not bad, considering the team we had to pick last night, the players we've played this season. We know there's glaring issues in that team, and yet we've still got where we are. Imagine what could happen if you bring 3 quality players in those positions I've just said. Statistically, a statistical fact that Ollie makes subs earlier than Pep and Klopp, Mark. We all get a bit drawn into the fact that he doesn't make subs when we want them, says Gareth Morgan. Gareth, I will come back on the show at lunchtime and I will sit you down on that. There is absolutely no way that Solskjaer makes more subs than Pep and Klopp. Not a chance. I'll guarantee you now, let's go through the last 10 games and count how many substitutions Pep and Klopp have done. Whether he makes them earlier or not, I couldn't give 2 shits about whether he makes them earlier. It's the volume of them. Pogba came on at half time. That's probably very early compared to what Pep and Klopp does. But the volume of the substitutions is appalling. You've got 3 substitutions in the Premier League. I think you can make more than that in the Europa League. Most of the time he's making 1 or none. This is like March of a very long season. You've got international quality players on the bench and he won't use them. I'm not having that. There is no way. So why do we talk about it then? Why does the media talk about it? Why are ex-players talking about it? If Solskjaer statistically is making as many subs as everybody else, why does everyone talk about it? There's no way that Klopp and Pep last night wouldn't have used all 3 substitutions. Everybody would do it, but he won't do it because it's a fear of if I change that McFred and they're protecting my back 4. I can't take anyone off from the back 6 because they're just doing their job. I can't take off Dan James because he's doing his job. I can't take Pogba off, he's only just come on. Never going to take Bruno off. Can't take Greenwood off because they've got no striker. What sub was he supposed to make in that situation when he won't change it? So there you go. Look, thanks everyone for watching. We are live again at midday for the Europa League draw. Very excited about that. He can't moan about game volume and not use his subs. No, he can't, Night 7. You're right about that. But look, we're in a very good situation. Smash a like on the video. Excited for the draw at midday. And just a reminder, I'm going to be live in about 5 minutes' time on That's Football because I'm doing a Champions League draw as well. So if you're free around this morning and you want to watch a bit more content, I've dropped the link in the video description. I'm going to be live on there in 5 minutes' time for the Champions League draw as well, and then back on here for the Europa League draw. So thanks everyone for watching. And then 1:30, it's Ollie's press conference. It's a busy day. Cooking with Goldbridge is going up as well. FIFA, Tonight Show, busy. If you want to continue the chat, I'll be on That's Football for the next half an hour or so, and then we're back on here in an hour. So smash a like, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And if you're going to join me on the other channel, I will see you there in a minute. If not, I will see you on here in an hour. Thanks.